move forward. I would, before we get started, it's our great pleasure to have our Grand Pomar, Brother Reuben A. Shelton, participate with us today. And Brother Grand Pomar, would you share a word, particularly with our Kappa Leaguers that have been involved in this project?
Brothers, good afternoon, good evening. I'm not sure where you are today, but wherever program, I like the intro with Brother John Marshall Jones. John Marshall Jones, I call him JJ. He is such a strong element in Kappa League, and he is so enthusiastic, and he has done so much for the program, along with Brother Kevin Burnett, who is just extraordinary when it comes to supporting the youth in the Kappa League program. So, Brother Burnett, thank you. And all of the Kappa League directors who might be on the phone, on the web. I get confused sometimes. You know, we do all these things from these seats. And sometimes I'm on the phone and sometimes I'm on the web. But I want to thank you all fraternity-wide for being here. Kappa League has a really special place in my heart. Uh-oh, there you go. Because I was a Kappa League director for St. Louis alumni back in the day, and I did it for several years. I don't know if Brother Dr. Herman Harris is on the web today, but he is the current director of the St. Louis Alumni Kappa League, and he and his team are doing a fantastic job, as you all are. You know, every year teaching, training, and preparing young men how to successfully compete in this world. You know, I frequently run into my former Kappa League students who tell me how much the program has helped them in their lives. And today you're going to talk about another critical issue that faces us today, and that's the need to get out the vote. And I can't tell you how many hours that I have spent. Roll down the window, that's 8. Joe! Oh, okay, there you go. You gotta love it. You gotta love it, man. You have a tendency to run into the gremlins. I call them the webinar gremlins sometimes, but that's okay. But that's the need to get out and vote. And I could talk to you for hours and hours on this topic about how every organization in life has mobilized this membership to vote and get others to register and vote. I've done videos, I've done web discussions, town hall meetings. I mean, it's just endless because this is an important issue. All 9 Black Greek letter organizations have collaborated and coordinated in an unprecedented way to get our members out and motivate others to vote. You know, there's a special initiative even to direct it at Black men, to get Black men out to vote, because historically, our rate of turnout is much lower than other demographic groups. So, you know, young men, brothers, you know, why are we doing all of this? Why are we doing all of this at this time? You know, we're doing it because, frankly, our lives depend on it. And I'm not just talking about in the presidential election, you know, though that is the main event on most radar screens, but other elections are important as well, because most aspects of our daily lives are somehow impacted by the officials we put in office locally and nationally. You know, whether it's job creation, education, healthcare, access to capital, or money to start a business, individual freedoms or personal rights, our elected officials make rules and regulations that affect just about everything we face in life. So if someone has that kind of influence on our daily lives, I would think that you would want to have some input on who those people are. And that input is going to be your vote. So I'm sure you will have other speakers who will share my view, and I urge you to closely listen to what they have to say. So, you know, to all on this web meeting And I've got another one after this. And what do you think we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about mobilizing to vote. So what I will leave you with on this web meeting is for you to vote like your life depends on it. Because brothers, young men, it really does. It really does. So Brother Burnett, thank you for having me. All of the other brothers on the line. I know I saw Brother Curtis Haley on the line. I think I saw Brother Starsky Wilson. I think I saw his name on the line. If so, just congratulations to all of you brothers for convening this very important webinar. Enjoy your meeting, and God bless you all. Thank you so very much.
Well, again, thank you, Brother Shelton. Again, I'm going to turn this over, and our National Kappa League Board is going to run this, and they're going to do the majority of the presenting. I would like to acknowledge that through the efforts of Kappa League chapters across the country, we have almost 1,000 people that have signed our virtual petition committing to vote and to help get others out to vote. So I'm going to turn it over to Kappa Leaguer and to Jameer and my National Kappa League Board. And you guys have charge of this.
Thank you, sir. So I'm going to share my screen. Before I do this, I'm just going to say that thank you for attending. And also there will be questions, and people who will answer those questions, Mr. Burnett and probably some of us will ask you some questions to make sure you're paying attention. And people who don't answer those questions will get some Kappa League shirts, Kappa League apps, wherever we can find, and I'll write your name down. You just send me your name privately. All right, with that, I'll turn over to Xavier and we'll get started.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome all. My name is Xavier Walker, and I'm a freshman at Petersburg High, and I'm also a member of the Petersburg Kappa League. I am so excited to see all of you on this virtual voting education meeting. I can't stress it enough, the importance of letting your voice be heard. Welcome, everyone. Now I'll pass it over to Kendall.
Hi, my name is Kendall Osmer. I'm a senior at Chaminade, and I'm with the St. Louis chapter. And I'm going to talk to you guys about history of voting and also Black voter suppression. So the 15th Amendment granted Black men the right to vote under law, but exercising this right was a whole other challenge. So from 1865 to 66, mostly Southern states created restrictive laws called Black codes, which strictly govern Black citizens' behaviors and denies them suffrage and other key rights. But in 1870, Congress passed the 15th Amendment, which stated that voting rights couldn't be denied or abridged by the United States or any state in account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. And in 2013, the Supreme Court struck down some of the Voting Rights Act provisions. The ruling has resulted in voting policies in Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, North Carolina, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Texas that have reduced voting from Black men. So, suppression methods. These are all the different methods of suppression that go on even now from today. So, poll taxes started in the 1890s, requiring eligible voters to pay a fee before casting a ballot. Now, if we think about it, in 1890, most Black men didn't have the amount of money eligible to vote, even though the 15th Amendment had been passed. Now, they had to take a literacy test. And if you can think, Black people in general were not allowed to read back in the day. And then strict voter ID laws, including in Texas, gun permits were approved voting ID, but a college ID was not. Another thing is disinformation on where and when to vote. So you wouldn't know where to vote, where to go to vote. Poll watchers to intimidate voters, closing polling places, limiting early absentee and mailing in voting, and purging voter rolls. Now I'm going to pass it to my friend Chase.
Hold on, we have questions.
Oh yeah, first, any questions from anybody?
And I have a question for our first question. So if you have an answer for the question, please put it in the chat room. And please put your name and the chapter you're with along with your question. And Brother Jackson, I will ask if you will monitor who answers first. And so the first question is, which amendment protects the ability to vote regardless of race? So the part is you have to put in answer, your name, and what chapter you're with.
Dallas Wilson.
So do we have so we've got an answer. All right, good. That's the correct answer. So Brother Jackson, if you will capture that so I can get him his Kappa League swag. And the second question is, name one way that one means of voter suppression. And again, put your name and your Kappa League chapter. Everybody remember one means of voter suppression. All right, correct. We've got Chase Pringle. All right, with that, I'll let you continue on with the presentation.
Now I'll be turned over to Chase.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Chase Pringle. I am a freshman at Lithonia High School. I'm second vice president for Lawrenceville Duluth Alumni Chapter. All right, I'm talking about why it's important to vote. Presidents, judges, mayors, and governors are all voted by the general population. The importance of voting is one of the most important rights and responsibilities that U.S. citizens have. Personally, I believe that everyone should vote because everyone has an opinion. In American democracy, we value our ability to choose who is in office and reveal in the fact that we have a say in what goes on in the political world. Now, do you believe in having the right to vote? But are you sure it will make a difference? So, should you vote or not? Well, the answer to this is yes. If you want a better health care, education, childhood, fair tax, basic income, better roads of transportation, this all involves with your government. So what you should do is vote for your state, local, and federal elections, which will make these matters towards a big problem, or it will spread it out. Now, voting is the important way to make your voice heard on the issues that concern you. Voting gives you an opportunity to be part of decisions that affects you and younger generations. If you don't vote, others will make the decisions for you. Decisions are made, have everyday healthcare, education, housing, global issues like defense and environment, and local issues like transportation and public safety. During the 2016 elections, around 138 million Americans voted for the presidential election. However, those 138 Americans only make up 58.1% of our voting eligible population. While these numbers seem high, our voter percentage is not higher than the 2008 and 2012 elections, as 28 was being 61.6% and 2012 was being 58.6%. Now to 2020 early voting. As you can see on the picture below, you can see the 2020 early voting already suppressed the 2016 early voting as having 51,503,309. As you can tell, the 2016 is already, it was 47,015,566. Even with so many ballots already cast, it's not final that the unprecedented early voting would translate into voter turnout to exceed the historically high number of votes cast in 2016. It is possible that when the dust settles after November 3rd, the number of Americans who voted would probably be similar in previous presidential elections, though they use different methods like the mail-in ballot or going up to the polls due to COVID-19.
Thank you, Jess. Questions?
I've got one question for the chat room on this. And again, the answer, your name, and your chapter. How many people voted in 2016? How many people voted in 2016?
That would be Dallas Wilson again.
No, that's not the total. Huh?
Oh.
Did I get it was how many people voted? The total number of people voted in 2016 was 138 million. And I believe that was Zion.
Yep, that's Zion.
Yeah. That's her.
Yep, Jameer, continue on. There's only one question. I'm sorry.
Okay. So next will be Zion.
Okay, hi. My name is Zion Newby. I'm 16. I am part of the Alexandria Fairfax chapter, and I'm a junior. I clearly have no political opinions at all. I don't have a Joe Biden flag behind me. I have no political opinions at all. I'm just, I don't have any opinions. But today I'm here to talk to you about the Electoral College and go over some basics. So the first thing I want to tell you guys about is that people say all the time, I cannot wait to elect the president, all the time. I hate to be the guy to tell you, but we don't elect our president. We elect electors to elect our president. So you might say, what is an elector? An elector is someone that is chosen by each state's party to vote on their behalf. So I'm from the state of Virginia. You have to go back. I'm from the state of Virginia. So the state of Virginia we have a Democratic governor, a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic Senate and 2 Democratic senators. So it's fair to assume that the state will most likely go blue this November. So how it would work is the Virginia Democrats would choose a certain number of electors, go to the state capitol, and go vote for Vice President Biden. These electors are given to the states based off of population. So the formula for this is the members of the House plus 2 for the Senate. So Virginia has, we have 10 members in the House and 2 senators. So now we have 13 electors. The electors always vote at the state capitol because it's considered the center. And so why this way? The founders wanted people who were in the state capitol to vote on who was president because they were seen as more informed. You have to think about this from the perspective of the 1780s. If the presidential candidate did something weird or had a huge scandal, the electors were supposed to be the more knowledgeable, more informable person, so they could change the results of the election. We have a total of 530 electors. Once 170 is reached, we have elected our president. So issues with the Electoral College that we have, they include the Electoral College is not proportional to county and states versus actual population. So who do you think has more? Just anybody can raise their hand. Who do you think has more? And looking at the red versus looking at the blue, who do you think has more?
Republicans.
So you would say that the red has more, right? Okay, so you said that the red has more. So that was actually when President Obama versus Mitt Romney in 2012, and that was 332 to 206. So go back for a second. So even though it looks like Mitt Romney destroyed President Obama was the one that actually destroyed Mitt Romney. But the Electoral College map makes us think that America is actually more conservative than we actually think it is. So you can go ahead now. So you can go to the next slide after that. So who do you think got more actual votes this time? So somebody said the Reds. So this was, if you guys don't know, this was the 2016 election. So just looking at it, it looks like over 75% of the country is conservative. Then we actually go to the next slide, we can see Hillary Clinton got 64 million votes as Donald Trump 62 million. So that's like the huge difference that the Electoral College has. Many people say that we should change the system, but that will require a constitutional amendment, which is very hard. little states and smaller states love the electoral college because it gives them more of an advantage. If you look at Wyoming compared to California, in the electoral college, Wyoming gets 3 times as many votes as California based on proportion. So states like that are never going to change it. So for a long time, so the electoral college is at least here to stay for some time. Okay, so the very basics of the electoral college that you need to know, you need to remember is election, the vote in the state capitol, and then the president is sworn in. So we vote for president, and then the election happens, we find out the results, the electors go vote in your state capitol, and then the president is sworn in once he reaches 270 electors.
Thank you, Zion. I'll open the floor for questions.
I've got 2 electoral college questions for the chat room. The first, again, put the answer, your name, and your chapter. The first one is, but how many electoral votes does it take to win the presidency? How many electoral votes does it take to win the presidency? All right, we got
2. I think it's Jalen. Man.
All right. And then the second question is, I don't know how many total electoral votes are available. All right, you got Dallas. All right, good. Very good. All right, Jameer will continue on.
No, actually, that was Clifton.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you keep track, Ben. You're gonna keep me honest.
All right, next, Mr. Burnett.
All right. So I want to talk about political polls. We hear a lot about political polls and who's ahead and who's not. Go ahead. So polls are a snapshot in time. So for example, I wanted to eat pizza yesterday. If somebody asked me about my favorite food, I'd say pizza. Today, I'm tired of pizza. You know, I want tacos. Somebody asks me a poll about my favorite food, I say I want tacos today. So understand, because someone answered a question about a poll or about a candidate yesterday doesn't mean that they feel the same way about them today. Go ahead, Jameer. Same thing with political polls. Hit the next little button. Political polls also are delayed. So when you get the results of a poll, those results are typically a week or 2 weeks in the past. So again, for example, you know, your favorite quarterback in the NFL, some people might think it's Lamar Jackson. I personally think it's Patrick Mahomes. But if a couple of weeks ago, everybody would have probably picked Patrick Mahomes because the Chiefs beat the Ravens. But now, again, how they feel about today may not be the way they feel about it in the past. And so people can change their minds. And particularly put this image up there for Brother Michaela, because Lamar Jackson's making a move on one of his Cincinnati Bengals. So if you go on to the next slide, again, political polls. So you see now that it shows in the blue that a poll hit. Go ahead and hit the next one, Jameer. The ABC Washington Post poll from October 11th has Biden at 54% and Trump at 42%. The critical thing to know about any poll is you need to understand what the margin of error is. So the margin of error in that poll is plus or minus 4%. So what does that mean? Well, one, people can change their minds. These are statistical polls, so do the math. So it shows Biden at 54%, so it's plus or minus. So the worst case, it could be minus 4%, which brings him at 50%. Shows Trump at 42%. So the poll, the plus or minus, the upside for him would be plus 4, plus there's 4% undecided. So you could really end up, the same poll could show you that it's a 50-50 race, or it could show that Biden has a huge lead. So you have to be careful when you're looking at polls and what polls are telling you. Next slide. Also, there's a danger. A lot of polls you'll see is an average. They take a lot of different polls and they average them together, such as this poll you see here. And, you know, it shows Biden ahead by 8%. And the last poll it averaged was on October 20th. Hit the next button, Amir. So, but it doesn't account for any kind of margin of error. And margin of error, again, in polls is the most critical factor. Go ahead, Jameer. Remember, these are all statistics. So, you know, this isn't like, so even at 51-43, if that held true, it doesn't mean that Vice President Biden was definitely going to win. It says 51% of the time, he's probably going to win. So remember, these are statistical odds. All right, go ahead, next. So how to get involved, how to make your voice heard, how to have an impact, even though you may not be of voting age. Go ahead, next slide. We're using hashtag Kappa League Get Out and Vote. So again, hopefully you've seen this before. Create voting teams of at least 3 people. Encourage that voting team to vote and register to vote. Put it on your social media. Create a vote video. You saw some of them earlier today. Reminder, even though Zion's got a nice sign in his background, we do not endorse any candidates, and encourage people to sign our virtual petition saying they're going to participate in this. And again, we've almost had 1,000 people that have signed up for that. Go ahead, next slide. Each Kappa League chapter, target ensure that you're reaching out to, go ahead, hit it, Jameer, that you're reaching out to your students that are eligible to vote, because some may have turned 18. Encourage that your parents and guardians are eligible to vote and registered to vote, and that any former Kappa League students that may now be in college, encourage them to register and to get out and vote. Go ahead, Jameer. So questions for the political and guide right. Who can put into the chat room again the answer, your name and your chapter? What is our hashtag we're using with Kappa League to encourage people to vote? Anybody remember? Nope, almost, not quite. There we go. All right. So that's the first question. All right. And the second question for this is, what is the most important thing to know about a poll? What is the most important thing to know about a poll? Correct, margin of error. Good. Well, before I turn it back over, I do have a poll I'd like for all my Kappa Leaguers. If I can, I don't know, Thomas, do you know how to launch a poll? I've already got one created. Or Ben, do you know how to launch it? I have a poll I'd like for you guys to complete here. Do you guys see that? Can you?
No, I don't see it.
No. So on the bottom right-hand side, you should see a polling where it usually says breakout rooms and all that, the tools.
All right, well, all right, we're not going to hold this up for that. We're going to go ahead and move forward. That'll be for my next time I do something with. All right, go ahead, Jameer.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you to Chase Pringle. Thank you to Xavier Walker. Thank you to Reynolds Young. Sorry, I'm not saying Young. Thank you to Zion. Thank you to Mr. Burnett. Thank you to Kendall Osmer. And thank you for showing up, for acknowledging, for indulging us. And we really did work hard on these slides. Everybody did their part. And it really turned out very well. And I'll ask you a favor. If you cannot vote, please encourage others to vote. Voting is probably one of the most important things you can do as an American citizen. And don't just vote for the presidential party. Vote for your vote for your state, vote for your capital. Just like Chase was saying, voting is so important. So I will ask you a favor. If you can, please, when you come of age, if you're not already, go vote. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Excellent job, gentlemen.